Welcome to the world of Do Good, where we share stories of humor, hope, and inspiration. This is the place to relax, take a break from the noise of life, and calm the mind. All videos are designed to make you feel more positive, more connected to yourself and the world around you, and to help you find some humor, hope, and inspiration into your daily life. Enjoy, and let's begin. I'm Possible is the New Impossible, Part 1. When asked, what's the greatest gift in life you can give for yourself or for others, these following individuals will show you what following your dream and giving life who you are truly mean. When you're born without legs and only one arm, swimming might not be your first option for sports. Kayla Wheeler, now a student attorney, got her swimming start at the age of 8 months with hydrotherapy to help her learn how to balance her body and sit up. Since she loved water, her mother signed her for real swimming lessons. Her passion, becoming a disability rights attorney, is also becoming reality since, as she quotes, "My parents have always taught me that I can do anything that I put my mind to, so I just put my mind to it." For Mohammed Abbas Karimi, born without arms in Afghanistan, even leaving his family at age 16 to a war-torn country, living alone paperless and undocumented in Turkey for 4 years, didn't stop realizing his dream of becoming elite athlete, now living as a refugee in the USA. French Theo Curran, whose both hands and legs were partially amputated at the age of 6 due to a rare bacterial disease, had a phobia of water before his illness, hasn't let these small details stand in his way. After meeting fellow Frenchman Philippe Croizon, also quadriplegic, at the age of 7, it left a burning desire for Theo to also prove he can do anything he wants. Acting sometimes on a TV comedy series and commentating on a show called Health Magazine, while modeling for Biotherm with David Beckham, he has some tips for everyone. Disability is not a barrier or obstacle in life. I hope to inspire all kinds of young people to do sports, and why not also overcome disability? Amir Bomyon, born handicapped to an impoverished family in Palung, Makwanpur, grew up feeling like a burden since he couldn't support her mother because of his physical state. At age 16, Mother Earth decided to step in with the form of an earthquake that barely survived. That earthquake brought relief workers to Palung, and one of them saw Amir making a call on his mobile using his lips. They saw the spirit in him, recognized his enthusiasm for learning, and brought him to Kathmandu to study English and mathematics. His passions, painting and singing, caught the attention of celebrated Nepali artists and composers, and he has been able to voice his feelings through songs and art by dedicating his first song to his mother. Amir continues to inspire people in Nepal and has said this: "Nepali should not discriminate each other. The blood that flows in all our veins is the same color. Even the color of flag, I thought, is red to denote the connection between all Nepalese." For cycling, keeping your balance is not the easiest with speeds of 20 to 30 miles per hour, especially with one arm and one leg. But elite Paralympian Juan Jose Mendez Fernandez from Argentina has done it for over 20 years now. At age 28, a motorbike accident pronounced him clinically dead on sight, and he spent 20 days in coma. It took him 3 years to start cycling again, and now Juanjo has 6 Olympic medals with his name on them. His cycling team, Piratas, has good energy within them and have one mission: to motivate more people to get out of the house and onto their bikes. Christian Hetisch has conquered the world's hardest amateur bike race, traveling up and down for 1,600 miles over Europe's highest mountain passes, with one arm and one very strong leg. When asked about his cycling along with other non-disabled amateur cyclists, he says his handicap gives him focus, drive, determination, a reason to do it. He's suggesting that although his disability has caused him much discomfort and difficulty, it's actually the very thing that turned him into the cyclist he is, the man he is. For Chinese Guo Xiao, he fulfilled his dream of making a 2,200 kilometer trek from Sichuan to Tibet in 20 days, and has since explored similar routes, enjoying sceneries as he goes. When telling his family he wanted to start cycling, they said it would be inconvenient for him, but he didn't want to live with an inconvenient mindset. Guo has said, "Life is like riding. You can go farther and see better scenery if you ride harder and longer. One could feel very tired in the middle of the way, but if you persist in your dream, there will be a piece of your own sky in the future." Have you ever tried archery? Imagine shooting a target 80 centimeters wide from 50 meters away. Now imagine doing it by just using your legs, as Mats Stutzman does. The nickname Armless Archer even holds the Guinness World Record for furthest accurate distance in men's archery, hitting a target from 283 meters or 930 feet, beating the record done by an able-bodied person. He has always done everything with legs and has said this: "I decided that since my arms weren't going to grow back, I was just going to go forward with everything and not let anything get in my way or stop me from my goals." For Jessica Cox, being born without arms didn't stop her from graduating from university, having a driver's license, and a black belt in Taekwondo. It certainly didn't stop her from her greatest dream, flying. Even though she actually was terrified of flying when growing up, having the ability to turn negative things into positive things helped her become fully licensed pilot 2008. She can also play the piano, drive a car, put her contact lenses in, and is a certified scuba diver, traveling around the world motivating people to be their best version. What do you do when you're born with 2 fingers on each hand, with a slight brain injury, and your legs are amputated from knees by the age of 3? If you're He Ale, you become a concert pianist. Her mother wanted her to take piano lessons for helping strengthening her hands to hold a pencil, but also because if she could master the piano, she could master anything. When she signed in for her first piano contest, the event organizer rejected her application, but due to her persistent nature, she was able to take part. The judges didn't know she was physically disabled before she was announced winner of first prize. Hea now is a worldwide recognized pianist, and her music shows that art is not a body or a brain, but the expression of a soul. For Ben Underwood, who lost both his eyes to a cancer at the age of 3, he was able to detect location of objects by making frequent clicking noises with his tongue. He used his echolocation method to running, playing basketball, riding a bicycle, rollerblading, playing football, and skateboarding, among others. He also traveled around the country speaking to young people, encouraging them to never give up. Italian Andrea Bocelli, one of the most successful and loved tenors of all time, born with poor eyesight and lost his eyesight completely by the age of 12 when football hit his head. Celine Dion has said if God would have a singing voice, he must sound much like him. Speaking of his hard work to get where he is today, Bocelli, who also enjoys horse riding, has said, "Destiny has a lot to do with it, but so do you. You have to persevere, you have to insist." Ludwig van Beethoven, German pianist and composer, was considered to be one of the greatest musical geniuses of all time. His personal life was marked by a struggle against deafness, and some of his most important works were composed during the last 10 years of his life, when he was almost deaf. This goes to show you only need to hear the melody in your head to create, since you can hear your thoughts as well. He had some special ways to hear or sense though. Beethoven used a special rod attached to the soundboard of his piano that he could bite. The vibrations of the bite would then transfer from the piano to his jaw, thus increasing his perception of the sound. Christine Sun Kim, an American artist who was born deaf, has visualized sound all her life through her art and distilled spoken language into clever new forms. She also has a very popular TED Talk about similarities between music and sign language and performed at the 2020 Super Bowl. Aaron Fotheringham, who was born with a birth defect on spinal cord and couldn't use his legs, never let that small detail stop him manifesting his incredible spirit. He found a way to roll over, sit up, and crawl just as any baby, finding his own way of doing it. The doctor said he would not be able to sit independently, so that was the first thing on his to-do list. His passion is hanging out with friends at the skate parks in Las Vegas, and he has a Guinness World Record for wheelchair backflip. Aaron enjoys showing young kids with disabilities that a wheelchair can be a tool, not a restriction. telling them this: "When you say you're in a wheelchair, it's like saying that you are confined to it. I'm on my wheelchair. I ride it like a skater on his skateboard." Patrick Henry Hughes was born in Louisville, Kentucky without eyes and without the ability to fully straighten his arm and legs, making him unable to walk. His father was not willing to give up and introduced Patrick to the piano at the age of 9 months. He has since then overcome these physical issues to excel as a musician, student, performer, author, and public speaker. He's also released 2 CDs and has this humorous wisdom for others to share: "When you fall into a big pile of manure, there has to be a pony nearby." Writer and poet Christy Brown was born 1932 in Dublin, Ireland, as the 10th of 22 children. When he was an infant, it was discovered that he suffered from cerebral palsy and was almost completely paralyzed. His left foot was the only part of his body not affected. Brown was considered mentally disabled by doctors, but also in this case, that consideration was merely a motivational speech. As a teenager, Christie painted habitually and read frequently, producing hundreds of paintings in addition to writing over 1,000 letters, a classic memoir, 4 novels, and 4 books of poetry, all with the toes of his left foot. Stephen William Hawking was former Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at the University of Cambridge and author of several bestsellers. He is also regarded as one of the most brilliant theoretical physicists since Einstein. In 1963, at age 21, Hawking contracted motor neuron disease, ALS, and was given 2 years to live. Hawking explained how the prospect of early death urged him onwards through numerous intellectual breakthroughs, many from a wheelchair. Hawking used a voice synthesizer to be able to communicate, and a wheelchair that he operated through slight movements of the head and eyes. He continued to live until 76 years, and his work, along with the courage and brilliant humor, continues to inspire people across the world, maybe other worlds as well. He has quoted, "Quiet people have the loudest minds." Parkinson's is a disease of the central nervous system that mainly affects the motor system and movement progressively. For Michael J. Fox, it didn't stop him from acting with the diagnosis for almost 30 years in a very public stage, also publishing 3 bestsellers and the Foundation for Parkinson's Research. Fox has spoken and written extensively about his preposition to look at challenges through a lens of optimism and humor. His message has always been one of gratitude for the support he has received, and he keeps on inspiring with his way of looking at life with quotes like this: "If you have 1 foot in yesterday and 1 foot in tomorrow, you're pissing all over today." Autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a range of mental disorders of the neurodevelopmental style and includes autism and Asperger's syndrome. For a majority, or maybe to all of the names in this list, that diagnosis has been a major influencer in developing new innovative ways to see the world, and that mankind would be lacking many inventions if there had been these brilliant individuals working within science and mathematics, such as Charles Darwin, Albert Einstein, or Sir Isaac Newton, within acting or comedy like Dan Aykroyd, Daryl Hannah, or Jerry Seinfeld, or directors like Tim Burton or Stanley Kubrick, chess mastermind Bobby Fischer, artists and poets like Andy Warhol, Mozart, Michelangelo, or inventors like Steve Jobs, Nikola Tesla, Bill Gates, or politicians like Thomas Jefferson. Sir Anthony Hopkins, who has also mild Asperger's, has said it helps him get into roles as an actor. In professional sports, the story of Jim Abbott is quite remarkable. Born without a right hand, his parents suggested it would be a more logical solution to play soccer instead of baseball, but that was not what he had in mind. He practiced hard and became a legend in Major League Baseball, pitching 10 years in the majors. He had as much of an impact on the game as any player of his time, making at least one scheduled meeting with a disabled child during every road series of his career. He has quoted this: "It's not the disability that defines you, it's how you deal with the challenges the disability presents you with." Cute Blackson is a transformational teacher who offers a fresh, bold look at spiritual awareness for a whole new generation. He shared a story on Mind Valley podcast about his experience in India. I believe that we all have a unique gift. We're all encoded with the gift that we're here to give, and life is actually seeking to express that gift to us. The question I asked earlier is not just what do I want, but what is seeking to express through me, and to trust that and to give that gift. We're here to give that gift. One of the ways that I got in touch and was inspired by that for myself was being in India. I traveled to India and literally found myself on a quest for happiness. Found myself in literally the poorest state in India, in Bihar. And I found myself by the Bodhi tree, and I saw literally 10 beggars lined up on the side of this temple, and they were begging. And there was this one particular beggar that caught my eye, and he was sitting down, and he was just singing and singing and singing and singing. But I mean singing his heart out, like he didn't have a care in the world. And as I looked more closely and I was looking for the answers to life, thinking it was going to come from some big important person, and I see this beggar singing, and he's just sharing his heart very simply, very profoundly. And I looked more closely and realized he's blind. I'm like, whoa, okay, I've seen blind people before, but he was just singing. I realized he couldn't see how many people were giving him money. He couldn't see how many people were around him. He was just giving his gift. Then I looked more closely and he had no arms. So he was playing the drum, literally in 120 degrees heat. I'm dying as he's just singing his heart out with his thumbs. And then I realized the reason he's sitting down on the floor, unlike the other beggars, is because he has no legs. He is literally crippled. And he's just sharing his heart, singing praises to his creator. And I just sobbed because I realized that this man is not a beggar. He's not a beggar. I was actually the beggar. When I don't offer my gift to the world, when I don't share my heart, even in a small way, then I'm taking from life. And I went up to this man and I literally knelt by him, this blind man. I looked into his eyes and I said, "How do you come out here?" And I had realized I've seen him every day out here for the last 10 days. And I said to him, "How do you manage to come out here every day and just sing and just give? And you can't see how much money you've been given or who's around you. Obviously you're not doing it for fame." He looked at me and I thought he was going to say something like some wise thing, but what he said changed my life. And when he looked at me in the eyes, he looked straight into my soul. He said, "What else is there to do?" Boom. What else is there to do? Then he turned and kept singing, and then he looked right back at me and said, this was all through a translator, he said, "Life might give you everything you want. Life might give you nothing that you want, but you can always give life who you are." And I feel that perhaps our greatest gift, we think, is doing this and doing that, but our greatest gift perhaps is being ourselves fully. It's the simple act of incarnating and being ourselves fully and just offering it to those around us, just moment to moment to moment. We often think we have to do these huge things like, it's great to change the world, feed the children, provide clean water to countries, which is amazing. I think we all should do that. But sometimes the greatest opportunities to give our gifts are right in front of us. The guy in the grocery store, the mother, our children, those around us are all opportunities to give our gifts. What's your gift?